Hello friends, I am Aina. Welcome back to our channel Legal Provisions. Today we are going to discuss about what income is, which is being defined under Income Tax Act, what is the concept of income and forms of income, what is assessment year and previous year, who assessee is and who person is. In the previous video, we were talking about that it is the liability of a person to pay the tax. Now, who person it is talking about? Whether it is a natural person, an artificial person or a juridical person. So, let us discuss about that. Now, before going to all these topics, I want to little bit discuss about what Finance Act is. I have briefly explained about the Finance Act, about the budget in my previous video. Those who have not gone through my video can go through it as the link is given below in the description box. Now what Finance Act is? Basically it is the one of the component of income tax law. If we talk about the components of income tax law, the first component is Income Tax Act 1961, which basically provides the rules and regulations for income tax laws. How the income tax law will be levied, how the administration is going to take place, how the collection and recovery of income tax will be there. Now next is Income Tax Rules 1962. It provides the powers to the CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, to administer the Indian taxation law, that is Income Tax Act, to make the rules for carrying out the purpose and the administration of this act. Next is Finance Act. I'll talk about Finance Act in the next slide, that is the coming slide, because I want to give a brief detail about that. Next is circulars and notifications. Circulars and notifications are issued in case that if there is any ambiguity in the provision of the act, there is any confusion in the provision of the act. To clarify that ambiguity, to clarify that confusion, CBDT from time to time issues such circulars and notifications. Now we talk about Finance Act. Now how this Finance Act is formed, what is the budget, what the Finance Act is comprised of. Now every year Finance Minister of the Government of India presents the budget to the Parliament. Basically the budget, I have told in the previous video also, the budget is announced in the month of February. It is comprised of two parts. One part of the budget says about the policies, proposed policies of the government, that in which field, in what area, how much expenditure will be made by the government. And second part, give the detailed tax proposal, that is what is the slab rate, okay, then what type of income will be taxable, what type of income will be exempted, or anything regarding tax proposal. And the next is, in order to implement the above proposal, the finance bill is introduced in the Parliament. For any law to be finalized or to be implemented, it must be passed through the House of the Parliaments and then for the consent of the President. For this also, for passing the budget also, the finance bill is introduced in the Parliament, and the same when it is approved by the Parliament and gets the assent of the President, it becomes the Finance Act. Now we come to our today's topic, that is income, which is defined under section 2 subsection 24 of Income Tax Act 1961. It defines the inclusive definition of the, it provides the inclusive definition of the income. Now it includes profit and gains. Koi munafa, any profit we are earning, that is included in the income. Any dividend we are getting from the shares. If we have invested money in the shares, either the equity shares or the preference shares, we get the dividend. Now that dividend is also included as income. Next is voluntary contribution received by a trust, where a trust is an assessee, where trust is a person and he has to pay tax. For that trust, what will be the income? The contribution is it which it is received, which it is receiving from any other person. So next is perquisite in the hands of employees. Perquisites, any special allowance in the next point, or any city compensatory allowance or dearance allowance. All these benefits are given by the employer to the employee. When these benefits, any perquisite, any allowance is given to the employee, it is taxable in the hand of employee. Then any benefit or perquisite to a director. Any benefit received by a director is taxable. That is considered as an income. Then any benefit or perquisite to a representative assessee. Now I have appointed a person as a representative to manage my income, to manage my expenses. Now he is my representative assessee. Further, any benefit is being received by that representative assessee on behalf of me, that benefit is considered as income. Any sum chargeable under section 28, 41 and 59. These are basically charging sections of the few of the heads of income of the profit and gains from business and profession. So it is that. Then it is capital gain. Any gain I am earning, any gain we are earning from selling our capital asset is known as capital gains. That gain is considered as income. Then from insurance profit, any profit we are earning from insurance policy. Then banking income of a cooperative society. Then winning from lottery. Any amount that we have win from a lottery, it is also an income. Then employee contribution toward provident fund. Provident fund, basically the contribution is being made by the employer also and employee also. Okay, so any contribution that employee is making toward the provident fund, that is the income. Then amount received under key man insurance policy. अब ये key man insurance policy क्या होता है? Employer basically used to make an insurance for the key man, that is the very important person of that company. That is known as key man insurance policy. Any amount is being received under that policy. Then any amount exceeding 50,000 by the way of gift received by an individual or an HUF. Now gift, we can say we gift anything to any person. Is it taxable? Is it considered as income of that person? Have you ever thought of that? Have you ever think about that? And here in the taxation law, we say that if any individual or Hindu undivided family is getting a gift more than 50,000 is considered as income, and which is further taxable. Now we come to concept of income. What is income? In common parlance, income is known as a regular periodic return to a person from his activities. However, the income has broader classified in the income tax law. Basically, income क्या होता है? That we are earning regularly through a period of time, through a particular period. That is known as income. Then an income tax act even take consideration of income which has not arisen regularly. Even वो भी income include करता है जो regularly नहीं appear होती. Suppose we are earning from lottery, from gambling. That is not a regular income. Okay, so that is also considered as income. So income tax even take consideration of income which has not arisen regularly and periodically. For instance, given here, same thing, winning from lotteries, crossword puzzles, income from winning of shows is also subject to tax as per income tax. And that income which is known, which occurred regularly, we can say salaries or profit and gains from business and profession. Business and profession, not similar income is no, but regular income we earn from that business. Then the forms of income, whether how let us discuss about what forms are included. We have discussed that under Income Tax Act section 2 subsection 24 specified what income includes. Okay, now what is forms of income? If we say forms of income, then whether it is in a cash or kind, whether that income should be legal or illegal, whether that income we are getting in lump sum amount or installment. Let us discuss about that. Whether cash or kind, both types of income are considered as income. The income in terms of cash is not only the way to receive income, it can also be received in the terms of kind. Okay, we can say perquisite. Now perquisites are not only in cash, but can also be in the kind. Then the calculation of income from kind is subject to different treatments in both direct taxes and indirect taxes. When the income is received in kind, its valuation will be made. Then we have lump sum or installments. Income tax does not make any distinction between computing income, whether it is being received in lump sum form or installment. The main thing is you are receiving an income. Okay, whether you are getting per month income or you are getting per day income, whatever, it does not make any difference under income tax law. Then we have legal और illegal income. भैया ये क्या हो गया, लीगल भी और इलीगल भी कैसे? तो इलीगल इनकम हम कैसे कह सकते हैं भाई? इलीगल इनकम भाई कहते हैं कि illegal income is also taxable income. Now what is the difference between illegal income and black money? Illegal income, basically it is income received, income earned by a person in the way which is not a legal way, that is, which is not being allowed by our law. But what is black income? Black income is basically that income which has not been disclosed by the person to the tax authorities, to the government, that I am earning this income. That is known as black money. So a man of ordinary prudence may think that illegal income may not falling under the concept of income. But Income Tax Act does not make any distinction between the income received from a legal or illegal source. So a case आया, one case is there, I have mentioned that case, that is CIT versus Pyara Singh. As in the year 1980, AIR 1271. Here the Supreme Court has held that if illegal income is considered under the concept of income tax, then the losses from illegal business will also be allowed as deduction. Are you getting the point? Whether we are basically saying that illegal income will be considered as income. Then if income is being considered, then why not loss will be considered? We can claim the deduction of the illegal loss from the loss we are facing from illegal business also. Thus, in this case, the Supreme Court held that the loss of a business of smuggling shall be allowed for deduction under income tax. The rationale behind the decision was that the smuggling activity is also regarded as a business. Therefore, the confiscation of currency note employed in smuggling activity is a loss which arises directly from carrying on of the business. Then temporary or permanent. As per Income Tax Act, there is no distinction in computing the income whether the nature is of temporary or permanent nature. That is, whether we are earning that income on the regular basis or it is winning a lottery. It is not a permanent. At any time we can earn that income. Then receipt basis or accrual basis. Very important point for this income tax law. Now, receipt basis is when an income is actually received by a person. And accrual basis means when that income is accrued. When that income becomes due to that person. That is known as accrual basis. Now, here it is saying that whether the person has actually received his income or not, but that income has accrued. Now, that income will be considered as income when that income was accrued at that moment only. The income in some cases is deemed to accrue or arise to a person without its actual accrual or receipt. Income accrues where the right to receive arises. Then gifts. I have already discussed that gift amounting more than 50,000 is considered as income and is taxable under Income Tax Act. Now, gift up to rupees 50,000 received in cash do not constitute tax liability. Gift in kind having the fair value maximum up to rupees 50,000 is not liable to tax. However, whole amount will be taxed if the value exceeds the prescribed limit. Moreover, the treatment of valuation of gift is different in the different situation, specifically gift received on the occasion of marriage. There are certain exceptions when more than 50,000 is not taxable. That exceptional cases I will discuss in the head of income from other sources. Now, what is income from other sources? That is being explained in the heads of income. That is, income tax specifically states the different heads under which income, if person is getting income under that head, that income will be taxable. Sorry, I have made a mistake in the heading, that is income spelling. So, if we say about heads of income, section 14 of Income Tax Act specifies the 5 heads of income. First is salaries. The person, the employee getting its salary from the employer. Then house property. House property basically we can say the rental income we are getting, whether it is a residential property we are giving on rent or a commercial property. Then profit and gain from business and profession. Any business and profession a person is carrying out, any income he is earning from that business and profession under that head. Then is capital gain, that is selling of capital assets, any gain he is earning, that head. Then income from other sources. Now, income from other sources includes all other sources which are not included in the above heads. Now come to assessment year. You must have heard about calendar year, financial year. Now, what is assessment year? ये assessment year होता क्या है? हमने calendar year सुना हुआ है, ठीक है, हो गया. उसके बाद हमने financial year सुना है accounts में. You must have heard about what financial year is. Now, what is assessment year is? Basically, assessment year is that year in which the income of a person is being assessed. Okay. Now, assessment year means the period starting from April 1 and ending on March 31st of the next year. What next year is mentioning that? That in which year your income is being assessed. You have earned the income in the year 2019, right? From the year 1st April 2018 to 31st March 2019. Now when your income will be assessed, that you have earned during that period, that income will be assessed in the year April 2019 to March 2020, that is 31st March 2020. Now here it is being mentioned the starting date, that is April 1, ending on March 31 of the next year. Income of previous year of the assessee is taxed during the next following assessment year at the rate prescribed by relevant Finance Act. The rates mentioned in the Finance Act that I have already mentioned, that I have already discussed with you, at that rates the income is assessed, the income is taxable in the assessment year, this next assessment year. Okay, now what is previous year? The previous year mentions the year in which you are earning that income, right? The year in which the income is earned is known as previous year. The previous year is also known as financial year, right? From 1st April to 31st March. Note, all the assessee are required to follow the financial year, that is April to March. Now you have to prepare the books of accounts from the period 1st April to 31st March only as previous year. Okay, this uniform previous year has to be followed for the all sources of income, not only for business and profession. You have to maintain this for salaries also. You're earning salary, you have to mention your income you have earned through the period, that is 1st April to 31st March. Okay, now who is assessee? Income Tax Act 1961 defines assessee as a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under this act. Okay, when person is paying a tax, okay, or any other sum which is being payable under this act, that person is known as assessee. We will define that person, who is person, in the very next slide, who person is. Now assessee is being defined under section 2 subsection 7. It includes every person in respect of whom any proceeding under this act has been taken for the assessment of his income or income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable, or of the loss sustained by him or such other person, or the amount of a refund due to him or to such other person. Now you are earning an income. Okay, I am earning an income. I'm suffering any loss in my business, or I have to get any refund from the income tax department. That is, I have paid extra tax. Now I want to get that refund. Any proceeding, whether your income is being assessed, whether your loss is being adjusted, or the amount is being refunded to you, that person is known as assessee. Second, any person who is deemed to be an assessee under the provisions of this act. Any deemed assessee. Then any person who is deemed to be an assessee in default under the any provision of the act. Now who is deemed to be an assessee? Now if I have appointed a person, I have talked about the representative assessee, that if any other person is handling all my issues regarding my income, my taxability, my tax liability, anything, that is deemed assessee. Okay, then the expression any other sum of money, what it connotes, it includes other such obligations payable, for instance fine, interest, penalty, or other tax. What fine, penalty, interest is all saying? That if any person has made a default, has contravened any provision of the Income Tax Act, he has to pay the penalty for that. Now if that person has to pay the penalty or any fine or any interest or any other tax, that is also known as assessee. Okay, now final, very important, who is a person? Okay, it is defined under section 2 subsection 31 of the Income Tax Act. It includes an individual, suppose me, you, any single person, okay, an individual. Then HUF, Hindu undivided family. Then a company, that is an artificial person. Then a firm, an association of person where few person come together for a particular project, we can say. Okay, association of persons, body of individuals, whether incorporated or not, that is Cooperative Societies Act, whether it is registered or incorporated under that Societies Act or not. Then the local authority, then any artificial juridical person not falling within any of the preceding clauses. Any of the artificial juridical person is also included as a person under Income Tax Act. So this definition, basically it is an inclusive definition but not the exhaustive. Thank you so much. Hope you like my video. Press the like button, subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. Video we will discuss about residential status. Who are considered as resident and non-resident, which is very crucial to understand for determining the tax liability. Thank you so much.